Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 3-0 Take, where we talk all things Major League Baseball. Here's Kyle Corwin and Nate Reyes. It all starts right now.
Ooh, welcome back to the 3-0 Take, presented by SeatGeek. This is episode 363. I'll be your host, Kyle Corwin. I'm here with my co-host, Nate Reyes. Nate.
Cheerio, mate. How we doing today?
I will say this. It's a daily test every day that I wake up where I ask myself, it's like, is today where I actually feel something about the Red Sox? And today was not that day. Just checking in.
Yeah. It's understandable.
Truly, it's gotten to the point now where it's like, is today the day I can pull myself to actually caring or pretending that this is a worthwhile product to invest my time and energy into? No, today was not that day. And
Is it the first thing you think about?
Yeah. No, it's not. It's one of the first. I was called a spoiled Red Sox fan on social media today. So
Spoiled?
Yeah. So I have been thinking a little bit about like these teams that we've been talking about, the Oakland A's, and we'll talk about the Oakland A's, the St. Louis Cardinals, we'll talk about them.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some teams who have been, I'm not saying the Cardinals or the Oakland A's, or really any team is the Oakland A's besides the Oakland A's for that matter. But I was just thinking about how I feel it a little bit now, like what it's like to be a fan of a team that you just wake up and there's no hope. You're like, well, today's not going to be any different. And that's a sucky place to be.
Yeah, it's about half the league that feels that way. I think I get it. I get the spoiled comment. It makes a little sense. It does. I've had a lot of success. It's probably time to go through a little bit of this chapter. It's probably what your front office wakes up every day and says to themselves in the mirror.
Yeah, that's sure. Yeah, that's an easy way to convince yourself that you're doing a good job. Well, yeah. We're doing the best we can. It's probably time that this just happens anyway. So let's just ride it out. No, not a good place to be. But I will say this: the Oakland A's World Series is back on.
Need it.
The only thing that would have made this sweeter is if they would have gone for the sweep.
Yeah. It is what it is.
They had a 7-game win streak. It gets cut short in the finale. I was really hoping they would have pulled it off in the 9th last night, but no luck. The reverse boycott. Can we talk about that? That seems to be one of the main talking points. I will say you were awfully quiet the night of the boycott. I was kind of putting myself out there both in the fantasy group text and on social, kind of like
on Tuesday,
making it known, and I didn't hear any criticism. I didn't hear any support. I've yet to hear, for those listening, this is Nate's thoughts on the reverse boycott. It's the first time hearing about it. I don't know what his take is.
I understand that there are fans that are feeling it. Do you know what I mean? That are hurting. And I would hurt too. I'm not attacking the hurt. I think it was fairly well executed with being silent for the first AB. And
wait, hold on. Before we continue, because I just remembered, we have this clip from last episode that I want to play just to kind of put things into context. Yeah. Just to put things into context to show
Fair
you
enough.
Kind of where our heads were at before the event and how it actually played out. Speaking of the A's, their reverse boycott is tomorrow, June 13th.
What is that? Where everyone shows up?
They're from what reports are showing, they're gonna pack the stadium. I have a feeling they have a hard time even doing that for one game.
I don't buy it.
We'll see. It'll be like 65, 70% capacity. Oh, woo.
Yeah,
Don't
it'll
sell
be
the
like
team.
28,000 fans.
It wasn't even 28,000 fans. It was 27,759.
What a guess, though. Still would have been over on The Price is Right. But I think that I understand what they're trying to do. I understand. But, like, that only really makes a significant statement to me if you at least get, like, 35,000. You know what I mean? Maybe 40,000.
Let me say again, the announced attendance for the reverse boycott for the Oakland A's at the Coliseum, 27,759. An average night across Major League Baseball, 27,465. So in comparison to an average night across Major League Baseball elsewhere in the league, you had 294 more people show up.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
And we're supposed to take this seriously?
Yeah. I feel for the 27 and change that are hurting. I feel for those A's fans that are hurting. Dumb idea to do it on a Tuesday. I don't know who planned that. I don't know why. I don't know if there was a significance to the 13th or like why.
Hand up, I don't know who necessarily organized it. I do know that there was a guy behind the Sell the Team shirts. I'm sure you saw those, like the Kelly Green with just Sell on them. There was a guy that was behind that and was kind of orchestrating all of that. I don't know if that's the same guy that designated this as the particular night, but if I had to guess, I would think that they chose a Tuesday just for the randomness of it to prove a point, like if they could execute it, which in my opinion they didn't. But it's easier to say that you've accomplished your goal if you do it on a random Tuesday in the middle of the week
versus
in
like
June.
A Saturday saying, hey, it's because it's a Saturday. That's understandable. Did you see like the menus, like the cards they were passing out? I watched a TikTok of like a POV, one of the fans, and they had like this card of like cheer as loud as you can,
what you do at each inning.
Yeah, so like they had I think it was well orchestrated for being a fan thing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well orchestrated, well executed on the silence, and then, you know, like the silence during the first AB, which then I think it was a double down the line, and then it erupted into the Sell the Team chants. All of it was well executed. It's just 27,000 fans. You know what I mean? Like it's come on. Like what do you expect? I understand how fans are saying like it's not going to change. You going over to LA or to Vegas isn't going to change. It's the same ownership. So I understand that, but like what do you really do we any of us expect them to stay? You look at the shape of the Coliseum, you look at the product on the field, it's like what do you expect? So I can't get behind it. I can't get behind the A's. I understand the win streak, like good for you guys. I was more on the side of like I'd just rather see the worst team in baseball of all time. I'm kind of rooting for that, which I think we have a new leader in. But either way, it's just the A's do nothing for me. They do nothing for me. And if there's so much nostalgia and history and fandom, it's like, where is it? At what point is it going to show up? And on a night where it's dedicated to be about a boycott, a reverse boycott, for 27,000 fans to show up, it doesn't do it. It doesn't do the trick.
I had so many
We're
people.
done talking about it by next week. You know what I mean? It's over.
Yeah. So I feel like I need to address what happened on Tuesday. So I flipped the game on. Like I had it ready to go. I was like, I need to see like right out of the gate how this thing develops. Game flips on. I hear old Dallas Braden in my earbuds.
Love Dallas, by the way.
Love Dallas.
None of this is against Dallas.
No. Not at all. And he's certainly a supporter of what happened, regardless what he is and isn't allowed to say on the broadcast. Like I saw on social, he was all about it. So love that for our guy Dallas, friend of the pod. So the game starts. It's the top of the first. And I was just waiting because I knew as the game develops, I was like, just the content about this night, this game is just going to blow up. Like I want to get out there, just like have a post out there just so people who are curious like me, what the deal is. Because nobody knew what to expect. Like you hear reverse boycott, you hear pack the stadium, you hear chants at the fifth inning, the first inning, whatever. So the game starts, it pans to the stadium, like as much of a panoramic view as you can get on the broadcast. Down the third base line, you could see some of the outfield. There's nobody. It's an average. You go back and look at what it looked like on opening day when Shohei was on the mound. People forget about that. They don't want to talk about that. They say, well, it's because it's a weeknight. People are still getting to their seats. Okay. Anyway, I post the picture, I take a screenshot, and I say, the reverse boycott has begun. I have all these people in the comments being like, bro, this is so misleading. This is before the game. Like, post a picture now. And this was like, they were commenting in like the fifth or sixth inning. And I said, is the top of the first, like, are we not playing baseball at that point? Because that's when I took the picture.
True.
That's when I took the picture. And sure, I understand the whole, like, people are making their way to the seats thing, because I've been guilty of that myself when I've gone to a game. Like, sometimes we don't make it until the second.
Right.
Or like the Nashville Sounds game I just went to, where we didn't get there until like the sixth inning. That's totally fine. But I'm like, you're telling me that this is misleading. They say, well, what kind of narrative are you trying to push? I said, I'm literally not pushing a narrative. It says in the caption, in the post.
Do we care enough to push a narrative? I don't.
No, I certainly don't. The caption of the post, like on the image, and then the caption of the actual post, like down below, both indicated that I was aware that the game had just started. I said, the reverse boycott has begun. I didn't say, the reverse boycott is in full effect. The reverse boycott is approaching the middle of the game, and this is the turnout. I said the reverse boycott has begun. You can interpret that. If you're a salty Oakland A's fan and you think I'm pushing a narrative, that's your problem. That's not a me problem. That's a you problem. Okay? So I made it very clear that the game had just begun, because I just wanted people to see what it was like at the start. And then from there, we can watch it develop or whatever. The problem I have with that is, like, you would maybe have a little something extra on me by saying that if the stadium ended up filling up.
Right.
It didn't.
Right.
59% capacity on Tuesday.
Yeah.
294 more fans in attendance for that game than an average night across baseball. To your point, I feel for the 27 and some change that were there. I even feel for the A's fans that are diehards that maybe just couldn't get there that night. Life happens. I get that. I feel for them. But I've said before, I'll say again, the whole mantra of winning cures all, that's a pretty universally agreed upon mantra around not just baseball, around all of sports. We've seen teams that have struggled year in and year out, but when it finally clicks, when it finally turns around in a given year, things start to look up. People start filling the seats. I've said before, go back and look at the years that they made the playoffs. They made the postseason. The average attendance was no different.
Mm-hmm.
It was the same. So don't try to sell me on, well, it's because of the front office. It's because of ownership. It's because we're just there. They have no interest in making us a winning ball club. That all may be true, but as Oakland A's fans, you are no more different than any other fan base in sports. When winning starts happening, they show up. It doesn't matter who's in the front office. It doesn't matter what decisions are being made in terms of who's on the field, who's in the manager's seat. People show up. But when you were back making the playoffs, you were still at home. Mm-hmm. So don't tell me that like this night meant something more than what it really did. Like to those 27 and change, I'm sure it did mean something. They crushed it. It was for 59% filled stadium. It was pretty deafening. Like on the broadcast.
Yeah,
like,
pitch comm wasn't working. Couldn't hear stuff.
Tip my cap to them, but stop as an entire fan base, like collectively, stop trying to convince us that this all of a sudden means something more to you than it does, because for years it clearly meant nothing to you. So
right. I agree. Sorry. I mean, I don't know what other baseball fans around the league say. I mean, they're like coming to the defense of the A's, and it's like, what do you want? What do you want? Even, I mean, you gave Rob Manfred no options. You give him no options. This has to happen. You want a team in Vegas. People are pushing for a team in Vegas. It just makes sense. It makes sense for me. Does it suck for some people? Yeah, but like, sorry, that's just it happens. This has always happened. The Braves have been in Boston and Milwaukee. Now they're in Atlanta. I mean, it's just like, this is a part of it. This is a part of sports. Get over it.
I just want people out there, and I know this is going to sound extremely condescending, and I don't mean it this way. It's more so for your benefit as a listener. I just want people out there to think more critically. As baseball fans, think more critically.
Less emotionally.
Don't become right. Like, don't be driven as much by emotion. Sure, that can drive it, because we all know that like sports, like it's more than a game. At the end of the day, it's more than a game. So like there is that element of emotion. But when things like this happen, just think more critically. And I'm not saying, well, just agree, just go with whatever Kyle and Nate says. That's not like code for that. But like for this example, actually, no, you know what? I'm going to pull it up because it's worth talking about. So in our fantasy group chat for our fantasy league, the Jeff Passan tweet was forwarded to our group. Jeff Passan, the night of the reverse boycott, he says the announced attendance at the Oakland A's reverse boycott game, 27,759. And the crowd has been absolutely electric, constantly engaged, chanting for John Fisher to sell the team and trying to remind everyone that Oakland losing baseball is a genuinely bad thing for the sport. Don't be like Jeff Passan. He makes points that you can agree with, sure, but don't fall for the pandering. This is what happens when these kinds of things happen, where there's a sentiment thrown out there where it's like, oh man, like we can really use this to rally behind the A, like we can rally behind the A's here. We can get our engagement numbers up. We can really get people to like you essentially, if you're Jeff Passan in that case, you put yourself in a no lose situation, because then it's like,
he's a good writer.
Sure. No, and I'm not trying to like attack Jeff Passan.
No, I'm just saying like he's doing his job well. That's
right. This is just an example, because I saw this kind of take all over social media that night, where it's like you put yourself in a no lose situation, because you're supporting something that he was right. Like the people that were there, they're electric.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. So you put yourself
For sure.
in the win column there. But the people that come after you and say, Jeff, what are you talking about? Like, it was 59% full. Like, is this really, like, was it really all that great? Then if you're Jeff, you can sit there and say, oh, like, do you want a city to lose what they love? Like, do you really want to see these 27,000 and change lose something that they've grown up with their entire lives and went to games with their grandfathers? It's such pandering. And so all I'm saying is don't follow the herd when it comes to things like this. Like, think more critically, look at the numbers and say, okay, if I'm sitting there on Monday, June 12th, and I'm hearing about this reverse boycott that's supposed to pack the stadium, pack the Coliseum, and they're really going to stick it to John Fisher, and then 27,000 people show up again, the average turnout for a major league game on any given night, are you really going to be impressed? Or are you just going to see a tweet like this and get swept up in it and go, wow, you know what? This was great. They really stuck it to John Fisher. They didn't stick it to John Fisher. They're going to Vegas and they don't care.
No. The owner clearly doesn't care. How'd you feel about the trash being thrown on the field after the game?
That was real classy.
Yeah, that part lost me. That part lost me a little bit.
Yeah, that was real classy on the part of Oakland A's fans.
The owner doesn't give a damn. It's all the, all the people that are working there.
And I saw one video where there was apparently like one guy there for like a period of time where he's just kind of roaming. It's like, man, they're either short-staffed or they just don't have any interest in cleaning this up right now for fear of getting drilled with a beer can or something.
Right.
That was a nice touch, Oakland A's fans. I was thoroughly impressed with that. Good touch.
I don't see how that really did much. That's a boycott. That's not a reverse boycott. Throwing trash in the field is a boycott.
Right. If you're trying to reverse the boycott, you hop over the fence and help put up the equipment after the game. Rake the
put
field.
The bags away.
That's your reverse boycott. Show Fisher and company why you think the team deserves to stay, and maybe they'll change your minds. But yeah, throw trash on the field. That's
I'm over
good
it,
touch.
Dude. I'm over it. I'm over Oakland. Sorry for any people that are about it. Like I'm done with it. I'm over it. I think this is the definition of needing a fresh start. And this is an organization that, whatever nostalgia you have, whatever legends you have, it still follows. Still there. Hank Aaron played in Milwaukee. Still a Brave. So it's okay. You're going to be just fine.
Jackie Robinson played in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
He's still a Dodger.
Yeah. So it carries over. We're going to be A-okay. You like that? A-okay.
Vegas A-okay.
And there's a ton of baseball. There's a ton of youth baseball in Nevada and in Vegas. And they need a team. It needs to be baseball out there.
In the theme of Nate maybe prematurely burning teams down, the Chicago White Sox. No, I'm not asking about the A's. I already know your thoughts on the A's at this point.
Oh.
The St. Louis Cardinals. Are we burning the St. Louis
Burn
Cardinals
them down? No, just Ollie. Ollie's got to go. Long vacation.
Well, I missed my deadline, so we're in a free for all now because I don't know when he's gonna go. If he's gonna go, who knows? I will say that the players, I read that, I don't know if it was Goldie or Nolan or maybe even somebody else, but they were saying that it's on them and it's not any of the coach's fault. And I'm like, bought Ollie a little more time, I'm sure, if you would have said that. But if you just would have not said that, maybe Ollie's gone a little sooner than not. But Nate, the Cardinals, who are 15 games under 500, 2-8 in their last 10, are on a 5-game losing streak and are already 8.5 games back. This, if things continue, this will be their first losing season since 2007.
What are we doing, dude? What are we doing? I don't understand. On paper, they should be pretty good. What's the deal?
Paul Goldschmidt said, "I just want people to know how much we care. We're not losing and going home like, oh well, let's show up the next day. We're equally as frustrated with our performance. Every guy in the clubhouse is, and we're trying to find whatever way we can do to play better. There's a huge responsibility being a Major League Baseball player, but also playing for the Cardinals and being a part of this team and the expectations. We haven't lived up to the expectations, so we definitely wear that. It's a burden on us. We're going home and waking up in the morning thinking, what can I do different? What can I do on the field to help us win?"
Whatever. How pissed is Adam Wainwright?
I had a note to mention that. Like,
He had a chance.
I watched the video just today of him, Yachty, and Pujols walking off the field together last year.
Would have been a legendary retirement. I mean, that would have been perfect. I think he missed an opportunity, and he's not even throwing that well either. So
he had a 3.71 last year.
Yeah,
he could have called it
perfect.
And now he's
perfect.
Now he's got a 5.79 with a 1.174 whip. 1.714 whip. Yeah, tough.
It's weird. It's weird. Baseball's better when the Cardinals are good. So I don't like it. I don't like any of this.
I wonder what brought him back. Because it's not necessarily.
He doesn't seem like the kind of guy that's like for money or anything, you know?
No. And we've talked about this. There's probably an element where he thought he still had some in the tank after posting a 3.71 last year. You can't point to the World Baseball Classic because you could have still retired last year, stayed in shape, and then just came back for the World Baseball Classic and call it a day. But he was like, no. What's he making?
17.5.
What does that contract look like, though?
It's just a 1-year deal.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Man, 17.5 for.
Yeah.
Well,
another $1 if he makes 30 starts. Another $50K for being an all-star.
Honestly,
you could see happening just because of how corrupt voting is.
The Cardinals were probably hoping for like a split of the difference. Like he had a 3.71 last year, got a 5.79. They're probably thinking like maybe mid fours. It'll be worth it. I don't think when they wrote him a check for, what'd you say, 17.5 that they were going to be getting a 5.79 from old Wayno. But yeah, just collectively, I'm rapidly losing faith in this team.
Are you all done?
Like with the team?
Yeah.
As in, like, have I given up on the team?
Yeah. Is it time?
No.
Oh, $180 million payroll this year.
I just don't understand. Like, I feel like we're at the point with the Cardinals now where we could get the notification at any moment that what are they waiting for? This clearly is not this is not the answer.
I don't know.
And I know we sound like a broken record at this point, but you're 15 games under 500.
Yeah. They're also old. They're also very old. Goldie's 35. McCullers is 34. We know Wayno's old. He's 41. Nolan's 32. Steven Matt's at 32. Wilson Contreras at 31. the bullpen has been, it's just a question mark at the end of in the back end between Hicks, Helsley, and Gallegos. It's like, I don't understand what's going on. You have some young talent that I think should be on the field full time. Brendan Donovan, Nolan Gorman, Jordan Walker, Oscar Mercado. These guys should be playing full time. And you're committed to a lot of money on the top half of these older guys, though.
Yeah, I mean, if this is what you're doing as an organization, if you're punting and you're sticking with Ollie and you're going to figure it out in the offseason, okay, fine. Then get these guys the exposure and the at-bats and the reps that they need. Because otherwise, what's going to be different next year?
Mm-hmm. I agree. I do agree. Hate to see it. Hate to see it.
If you had to, what's your season prediction for the Cardinals? Like, just generally, what do you think happens by? We'll be sitting here talking at the end of October. What do you think will have happened?
Oh boy. I think Ollie. I think he does get let go eventually. I do. If not,
in season though, or end of season?
In season, I do think he gets let go in season. If not, end of season, I could see GM and Ollie adios together. I could see both of them gone. Goodness, dude. They're 13-21 at home. Talk about, I mean, if anyone needs to boycott, it's Cardinals fans. It's just ugly, dude. It's ugly.
Are you talking about the same fans that left at the end of before the playoff game was over last year?
That'd be them. Yeah. Yeah. Ollie goes. Waino retires on the worst note possible. We could see. You grab any of the three: Jordan Montgomery, Miles Michaelis, or Jack Flaherty. They're gonna go somewhere else. It's a change of scenery type situation. Love Miles, friend of the pod, but I don't understand what's going on. I don't understand. And again, we talked about like their lack of evaluation on a lot of players. There's been, quite a few names that have been in that organization that they've given up. So they just they need a little bit of an overhaul, and you can't complain too much when you have massive cornerstones in Goldie and Nolan. But
literal cornerstones.
I don't get it. Yeah, I don't get it. It's confusing to me. They should be good. Should be really good. That division is up for grabs. Not anymore.
Well, talking about the Cardinals, it was announced that they would be featured as a part of the 2024, quote, Field of Dreams game. They'll be playing at Rickwood Field, which, found this out today, the oldest professional ballpark in the country.
Wow.
In Birmingham, Alabama, where, as we know by this point, Willie Mays played.
Why is it Field of Dreams?
Oh, I'm glad you asked, Nate. I was waiting for you to bring that up. I have no idea. I don't.
What about that?
And this isn't me knocking the move to this field. I think this is awesome.
Yeah, just don't call it that.
Just a general question. Why is it? It's not the Field of Dreams. So why call it the Field of Dreams game?
There's got to be some type of like contractual thing. Who's like the main sponsor? Is it Capital One, MasterCard?
No, it was Geico, wasn't it? Why do I remember seeing Geico like all over the field last year? Yeah. I think it's Geico.
There has to be some type of like commitment when that company signed on as like the main sponsor.
Like, you have it on a tee to make this some sort of like to integrate the like Negro League aspect into this. It's on a tee for you. If this is where you want to play the game, then play the game, like play it under this new campaign. It's right there for you. It's so simple, but yet we're going to go, no, we're going to call it a Field of Dreams game. And you're right. It's probably something contractual, but like credit to Major League Baseball and other outlets in the baseball world, Baseball Reference with their Negro League statistics, MLB The Show, incorporating a lot of the...
Good call. Geico, T-Mobile, Chevrolet.
Yeah.
Mattress Firm, Jersey Mike's, Goat, and Hyundai. Yeah,
so like baseball as a whole doing a great job. It's on a tee there for you. Like I pulled up a nugget here. Rick Wood Field opened in 1910 and is the oldest professional ballpark in America. It was home to the Birmingham Black Barons of the Negro Leagues, which was Willie Mays' team from 1948 to 1950. He joined the New York Giants in 1951.
So
and I love this idea. I think it's cool. I can't wait to watch it. That's going to be an awesome venue.
Start something new. Don't call
to watch
it
a
Field
game
of
at.
Dreams.
That's my only thing.
This goes back, and we nailed it. Field of Dreams should have been done after one.
Yeah.
Just call it. All done. Yankees, White Sox. End it there.
Especially with the way it ended. Like it was a
perfect.
Storybook ending.
Perfect.
That event, like the Kevin Costner thing, it went exactly as you could have hoped. It went better than you could have hoped for if you're Major League Baseball. Like you could not have written that script any better.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, let's run it back. And who did they run it back with? Like the Reds and was it also the White Sox again?
Cubs. Reds, Cubs. It was definitely not the White Sox.
That sounds right. Yeah, I think it was Cubs, Reds. And that was like very underwhelming. And now you're going to keep the series rolling by not even playing at the Field of Dreams. Like,
okay. It had to have been the sponsor contractual thing.
Which is fine. Like if that's the case, then okay. But otherwise, like if it's not, this is just
Don't
a weird...
advertise it that way. Yeah.
It's a weird oversight. Anyway.
Not even in the same state. It's not even... Like, what are we doing?
Just want to clarify. I love this idea. I can't wait to watch. I think it'll be super cool.
Agreed.
We got some injuries to talk about here, but I would love if you could...
We're so negative today. Ooh, boy.
I know. I would love, though, maybe switching gears, something a little more positive. You could tell us about our friends over...
Manscaped.
At Manscaped.
Manscaped. All right, I'll tell you about Manscaped. Did you know baseball's in full swing, Kyle? Pretty wild. Get your game on point with Manscaped. With their top-notch grooming products trusted by 8 million men worldwide, get into the MVP discussion this season with the code 30TAKE. That's our social handle. Typed out THREEOHTAKE for 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with 30Take at manscaped.com. Look, as you know, it takes care of all hair on your body. You can find something for all hair. So why not? And help the boys out. Help out your 30Take boys. Go buy something small, something big. Do whatever you need to do. for the Manscaped.
Sorry, this is what I mean when I say think more critically. Stop being a sheep and just going with whatever you see on Twitter. So
can you make a sheep sound?
Bah.
Wasn't very good.
Bah. So
Bah.
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 So we had a buddy of
good.
yours. Thanks. We had a buddy of yours, Joe Diz.
Yeah, Joe loves to throw shade. What has he got?
Commented. It's not even necessarily about him. He commented on our video that I posted talking about the how it was just weird to call the Rays World Series champs or favorites. I mean, sorry. And he says, haha, tell me you're fans of teams from the American League East without telling me you're fans of teams from the American League East. And I said, tell me you didn't listen to the podcast where we said the Braves without telling me that you didn't listen to the podcast where we said the Braves. And then we had somebody follow up and say the underperforming Braves are your favorite. Nice. Pulls up the standings. 4th best record in baseball. They're 8-2 in their last 10. They've won 2 straight. What are we? People
I think
online
that's
are
the biggest
idiots.
team to fear. I think that was our point. The biggest team to fear. You don't want to see those guys in the postseason. I'm sorry.
But I think we all, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we hinted at the fact that that would be the team that you would fill that blanket with. World Series favorite, Atlanta Braves.
Yeah.
But going back to my point, underperforming, they're 8-2 in their last 10. They've won 2 straight. So if that's underperforming to you, then just wait till they start performing.
Yeah, for real. Yeah.
People always ask, why are you so negative all the time? Why don't you guys try to be more positive? Because we deal with idiots like this. This is what we have to do. People don't see this. They only see the Jeff Passan happy-go-lucky tweets. We have to freaking deal with comments like this from
goons. Just dealing with goons.
I can't do it anymore. Some notable injuries. Yordan Alvarez will be out for at least 4 weeks with the oblique strain that put him on the IL last Friday. He was hitting .272 with 17 bombs and 55 ribbies in 57 games this year. Lance McCullers, forearm surgery, out for the season. Sounds like Nate traded him in fantasy just in time.
Dodged a bullet there.
Vinnie, is it Pasquantino?
Pasquantino, maybe?
Pasquantino, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Needs surgery to repair a torn labrum in his right shoulder, and he's out for the rest of the year. He was hitting .247 with 9 homers and 26 ribbies in 61 games this year.
Royals are already down. That's a gut punch.
Well, that's a great segue into our noteworthy performances as of late, and not noteworthy in the good way. The Kansas City Royals have overtaken officially the Oakland A's as the worst team in baseball. They sit at 18-50. We kind of hinted at it last episode. Or did we hint at it last episode? How nobody's talking about this?
Yeah, no one is.
The A's are getting hate for being, the A's. And the Royals just quietly are we got it from here.
Yeah, hold my beer. Oh, my.
Are you kidding me, dude? What happened?
Still a better run differential than the A's, though.
It doesn't matter.
1-9 in their last 10. Only won 9 games at home and 9 games on the road. 17 games back in that god-awful division. Ugh. It's too bad. And I believe they DFA'd Jackie Bradley Jr. recently.
They did. Yeah, they sure did. Which it always makes me wonder on a team like this where it's like, and I'm not knocking Jackie Bradley, love the guy, but you see guys get DFA'd from teams like the A's or the Royals or the Nationals even. It's like, what does that say?
Yeah, that's bad.
What does that say about how they view that player?
Yeah.
If not even they are like, well, we can try to figure out a way to make this work.
Well, he's like 68 years old, so you might as well just bring up like the youths. Bring up the youths. Give him a chance.
He's not 68. But if I recall, to put things into perspective here, I do think he played in the College World Series at the former Rosenblatt Stadium. If that tells you anything.
I think tell me something.
I think his team may have been the last College World Series, if I remember correctly. It was one of the last for sure.
Where'd he go? South Carolina?
South Carolina. He was on a team with Whit Merrifield.
All right.
So,
well,
maybe he is.
Do you think he finds a job somewhere?
I don't know, man. He's bounced around a minute. Obviously, he went back to the Sox. He was with the Jays. He was with the Brewers. Back to the Sox. Now the Royals. I don't know. I don't think he. I mean, I'm sure I'm sure somebody will pick him up, but I also wouldn't be surprised if he didn't, or if he didn't get picked up. Gunnar Henderson, the reigning American League Player of the Week, has finally found his gear. Going into Wednesday, and I know we're like a day or two later at this point, but going into Wednesday, he had 12 hits. He had multiple steals. He had the home run cycle, which, if you don't know what that is, you have a solo home run, 2-run home run, 3-run home run, and a grand slam. And he was the only player in Major League history to have done all of that in a span of 5-team games. Wow. Oh, and the team was 5-0, so that's a caveat.
Makes sense. Oh boy, when this team has all wheels turning in the same direction, yeah, they're legit.
Probably good timing too, because a wheel that's not going is Ryan Mountcastle.
Yeah.
He got hit with the vertigo diagnosis.
Did he? I didn't see that. From anything specific, or?
I don't know. I don't know if this is like a phantom. I don't know if this is like a phantom IL stint or what, because he
could be.
Ooh, he is rapidly approaching platoon status.
Yeah,
like if you look at the splits are annoying. Terrible.
Did you see Ryan O'Hearn has stepped in and immediately hitting like 350 or whatever? A couple bombs.
That's what I'm saying. The splits are horrendous for Mountcastle, and so he is very quick. And this stint probably is not going to help his case, assuming O'Hearn can continue. But for a guy that started as hot as he did, to be like possibly platoon by the end of, or by the All-Star break, not good. But
phantom IL stint, get you back right. Couple rehab starts.
They got other guys. They can hold it down, keep it moving.
Yeah.
Also, he hit that. Did you see he hit that ball on Utah Street?
O'Hearn?
No, Gunnar Henderson. Sorry, I was
nuked.
Backtracking. 462 feet. The longest home run to ever hit Utah Street.
I just don't buy that. I'm sorry. I don't buy it.
No, see, now we talk all the time about how we feel like the StatCast has these home run distances wrong, because it's like that ball was pooped on.
Mm-hmm.
And you're telling me this is like 406? No.
Yeah.
So when it finally does happen, we have to maybe consider that it's a real possibility.
It makes me think that like any balls like back in the day where we had like the wrong technology, no shot they were going over 500 feet. There's no way Babe Ruth was hitting balls over 500 feet. There's no way. With that lack of velocity and whatever old technology that baseball is made with, no. There's no possible way. You're seeing guys absolutely nuke juiced baseballs. And they're barely cracking 470 on the long end.
You're anti Ted Williams red seat.
I am.
You don't believe it happened?
That one's tough. That one's tough because there's a specific spot. What was the exact distance on that?
It was like, I think it was like 561.
There's just no way.
562.
What was inside that baseball? That's what I want to know. There's no way.
I'm sorry. 502. 502. I knew that. Yeah. You had David Ortiz go out there with like an aluminum bat.
Right.
And he's like, no, there's no way this happened.
I don't think so. So yeah. And especially with like the technology we have. That's why I think there's so many things that were off. You hear about like how the radar gun was different for Nolan Ryan.
Right.
Where the radar gun was picking up speed like, I think it was closer to home plate or something like that. Now the radar gun's basically 5 feet after being released or whatever. And he would have been throwing like 108 or something. That part I can kind of see. I could maybe get on board with. But I don't get these distances. And the baseballs are hotter now than they've ever been, so.
You know what I don't understand is how Gary Sanchez is doing what he's doing. 6 home runs, 15 ribbies in 14 games as a Padre.
It's got to be the beard, right?
Well, he had it with
everywhere else. Mets.
Who was he? The Mets. Yeah, I mean, he had it with them, didn't he?
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't as developed.
How do you feel about the 99? I don't like it. It looks weird.
He's wearing 99.
Yeah.
Why have I not noticed that?
It's odd. Doesn't look right on him.
Guys do strange things when they know they're in like the
desperation mode,
the home stretch of their careers. Like, I'll see if I can make this work. See if this can get the mojo going.
Is Gary Sanchez going to take like the Matt Carpenter award this year? That Matt Carpenter took last year with the Yanks, where it's just like this insane resurgence for 2 months, then fizzle back down.
And he's off to a good start.
And look, Austin Nola wasn't doing anything at the plate, so they had to go find it from someone. Good for Gary.
Good for Gary.
I said it back in the day. I mean, there were a lot of people that kind of looked at me like I was crazy, but there were a lot of people in the Yankees clubhouse, like a lot of players that were like, Gary Sanchez is the most pure hitter out of all of us. It's in there somewhere. So I mean, I'm not surprised.
I love resurfacing the screenshot of this article, but you had Aaron Judge coming out and saying, I think he can be an American League MVP, and then like the next year he was DFA'd.
Yeah.
Which I love bringing that up just when I'm feeling down one day. But he's still got something left. Maybe it may not be to the same level that he had when he was with the Yankees, at least when he was really going, but he's showing that he's got something left. I don't know. Jose Abreu. Yeah, they sure do. Jose Abreu, your RBI leader for the month of June in the American League.
Look at that. 13. Look at that.
Talk about a resurgence.
I believe I said he was coming. I think I said he was coming.
I recall no such thing.
I believe so.
When did this happen?
I picked him up in fantasy a few weeks ago, and typically when I do that, it changes my opinion on the podcast. So, yeah. But I needed outfield depth, so I dropped him. But I'm not surprised. He's a professional hitter. You know? I could have also said the exact opposite. It's hard to say. You really don't know. You just don't.
I guess I should have paired these two together, considering they play for the same team. But Fernando Tatis, since making his season debut on April 20th, only Shohei Ohtani and Mookie Betts have hit more home runs.
Dang.
Safe to say he has transitioned back nicely.
I just don't understand. I don't know why it bugs me so much, but it's like the home run follow through and stand there in the box. You know, when you're on MLB The Show and you're like looking through all the generic home run celebrations, and at the bottom, you can very much tell that whatever sensors they put on the person that created this definitely did not play baseball. You know, because there's like one arm that's like straight down, and then the other one's all awkward standing there. His legs are all super close. And no baseball player that plays MLB The Show would be like, yeah, that's what I want. That's Tatis sometimes. I saw on Instagram, shout out Baseball Reference for this. He hit his 11th career leadoff home run last night, which now takes over as the most in Padre history. Yikes.
Good for El Nino.
Got a lot also more coming, too.
Good for the Phillies as well, closing out our noteworthy performances segment. 9 wins in their last 11 games. I told you. Phillies are on their way back. And I'm here for it. I was talking with a couple guys yesterday, and they're also Red Sox fans, and they were like, what team are we boycott or bandwagoning now?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I guess the Phillies. After last October and just kind of the lead up to that, I'm like, you got Bryce, you got Trey, Schwarber. I mean, that seems like an easy
Castellanos
pick
is actually having a pretty decent year too.
Yeah,
like a more productive year than last year, I believe. So
could very well be an all-star.
Yeah, need it.
So good for the Phillies.
Yeah.
All right, we gotta move relatively quickly here, but we got some weekend series to watch plus some fantasy talk here. My weekend series to watch, and it's not necessarily because of the quality of baseball that you're getting, because as of right now, these two teams are just very much underperforming.
Yeah.
But it's for that very reason that I have chosen these two teams, the Cardinals versus the Mets. This series, I'm not saying either team's season hinges on this matchup, but if you're either team, you really need to use this weekend as if you are going to make it go, use this weekend to make it go, because you are just about out of time. We are in the middle of June, the literal middle of June, and you got to pick a road here. Game 1, you got Miles Mikolas versus Tyler McGill. Game 2, Adam Wainwright versus Kodai Senga. And Game 3, Matthew Liberatore versus Carlos Carrasco.
Yikes. Cookie needs to get going, man. Yikes. Like, he is on the bubble. I'm thinking a couple more starts, and he's getting DFA'd if he continues down the road he's going. And we already talked about the Cardinals. They need to figure it out. But Mets found a way. Yesterday, walk it off against the Yanks. Even though that crazy, did you see IKF steal home?
I did.
Yeah, that was wild. Yeah, so got a little something going. The Mets are weird, dude. Mets are weird. Anyway, is that it for yours?
That's all I got.
All right. Well, here's my fantasy deep dive for you guys. We got the Rays visiting old San Diego Padres. Both are 7-3 in their last 10, by the way. Padres, as of today's recording, are one game under 500. And obviously the Rays are best record in baseball, one win away from 50. Excellent matchups. Excellent. If you're a fan of pitching, this is a series to definitely glue into. First game, we got Shane McClanahan going against Yu Darvish. McClanahan, 10-1 this year. I mean, definitely in the Cy Young race. 2.18 ERA. Last time out against Texas, I think held it down, in my opinion, for playing the Rangers. Went 7 innings, 4 hits, 3 earned runs, 1 walk, 5 Ks. Had 17 points in fantasy. Remains the number 3 starter in all of fantasy baseball with 226 points. Little nugget, has never faced San Diego before. Interesting. Pretty wild there. Yu Darvish, 5-4 this year with a 4.30 ERA. Struggled a little bit against Colorado on June 9th. Went 5 1/3, 5 hits, 4 earned runs, 4 walks, 6 Ks, only 7 points. 187 points on the year in fantasy. Ranks 45th among starters. Something I noticed, though, has allowed 3 earned runs or less against the Rays in every start of his career. So something to pay attention to there. Game 2 on Saturday, you got Zach Eflin going against Blake Snell. Eflin looks good this year, dude. Like, I'm impressed. 8-2, 3.28 ERA. Last time out on June 12th against Oakland, did scuffle a little bit. This was during Oakland's hot streak, obviously. 4 2/3, 5 hits, 4 earned runs, only 3 points. Ranks 22nd amongst starters in fantasy with 175 points. Little nugget against Eflin, though. Obviously, played for the Phillies for a while, so I figured, who does he struggle against? Somebody in the Padres lineup. It's Juan Soto. Soto is 11 for 23 against Eflin. 2 home runs, 9 RBIs, 5 walks. So I know you're smiling.
I can expect a little bump here this weekend.
I think something's going to happen with Soto.
Nice.
On Saturday. He's going up against Blake Snell. And honestly, numbers-wise, it looks like he's really, really turned it around. 2-6 this year, but who cares? He has gotten his ERA down to 3.78. Last time out against Colorado on June 11th, 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, no walks, 12 Ks for a total of 28 points. Check this out, though. 130 points in fantasy this year. 81 of those points have come in the last 4 starts. So,
jeez,
I think Blake has started to turn a corner. And we don't know who is going on Sunday for Tampa, but we do know Joe Musgrove is going for the Padres. 4-2 this year, 4.37 ERA. Last time out on the 13th, a couple days ago, against Cleveland. Okay. Still just, I think, feeling himself out, trying to figure out what's going on and getting the feel for pitches. But 6 innings, 7 hits, 3 earned runs, 1 walk, 5 Ks for 11 points. He's at 84 points on the year in fantasy. And I looked up some stuff on Fangraphs, and he didn't qualify yet because he hasn't thrown enough yet. But something to note, even though he is struggling, If he was to qualify, we look at his ground ball percentage, it would rank top 25 amongst all starting pitchers. So, that's something you obviously want in San Diego for Hitter's Ballpark. And I do think that number is probably a little bit of a precursor on what he's going to end up being at the end of the season. Just be patient, fantasy owners. He's going to give you points. I don't think he's going to get touched up too much. It's just let him start to get back to what he's used to. Joe's coming. But Rays Padres, definitely look out for this one.
That'll be a good one. Some fantasy nuggets here before we go.
Fantasy corner. What are we calling this segment? Fantasy.
We can think on it.
All right.
Sponsored by SeatGeek. No.
That was the least enthused.
Stop. I love SeatGeek. I love SeatGeek.
Sure.
It's the answer to all your ticket needs. No, we're not doing that. You know the deal. Promo code 30take, her social handle, $20 off your first purchase as a first-time user. Seriously, go to a game this weekend. We're not at the point yet where it's terribly hot out, depending upon where, possibly based on where you live. But, it's a great weekend to catch some ball.
Father's Day weekend.
Yeah, even better.
Take Pops out there.
Take Pops out there. Use our promo code. Check out SeatGeek. Find your tickets on there. Save yourself some money. Some names to possibly consider if you are a fantasy baseball enthusiast and maybe you're looking for some depth or some names to add over this weekend to keep yourself busy. A guy that I've got here, Nolan Jones of the Colorado Rockies, has really started to heat up as of late.
Just made his debut a couple weeks ago, didn't he? He's fresh.
And he's really settling in as an everyday guy for the Rockies now. They got him in the corner outfield, and I want to say first.
Yeah. Charlie Blackmon going down, I think, brought that call up.
Yeah. And he's doing quite well. He's putting up crooked numbers just about every night. And if you play fantasy, that's what you're looking for. So possibly consider him as a depth piece if he's available in your league. Another guy that I've got here, which big proponent of, JP Sears. And yes, I know he's a starting pitcher for the Oakland A's, and that's not necessarily a team that you would want to occupy with one of your roster spots with a player from that team. But I don't think JP Sears really cares, because his game logs going back to May 14th are 12, 15, 11, 13, 11, and 12 points.
Solid.
So if he can bring you that kind of consistency every fifth day, or I'm assuming they're using a 5-man rotation.
You never know.
Actually, they may be
7, probably a 7-man rotation out there.
No.
Or 3. There's no in between.
There's no in between. Having that kind of consistency certainly helps, and that can provide you a nice little boost, especially if your matchups are down to the wire. And like I said, you can count on a nice little 11-12 spot. So consider him as an arm. And then one other guy that I got here, Jack Sawinski. I'm sure he's probably been up and down in your leagues if you're listening, but he's seemingly started to figure it out, kind of in line with around the time that the Pirates started to figure it out last year. What?
Last year, Jack was a stud. So
for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm saying he's had his ebbs and flows this season. But we were just talking last episode how the vibes are back up in Pittsburgh, and it seems like it corresponds with Jack hitting at the plate, because he's put up over the last 5 games, he's put up 2 nights of 14 points each.
Oh boy.
And over the last 5 games, he's got 4 home runs and 5 ribbies. So
Juice is back.
Jack's feeling it. So
Yeah.
just some names to consider if you need a depth piece in your fantasy league.
Yeah. I went the other way. Names that, look, it's time to look elsewhere. I only got 2 of them, though. Andrew Benintendi. Oy, yikes. I just don't understand what's going on. Hitting 265. No tacos on the year. 16 ribeyes. Tried to figure out, just what's going on, but a couple numbers that stood out to me. OPS is at 675, so it's not even like he's really getting on base that often either. OPS plus is at 87. ISO, which is that, just the power number basically of extra base hits, hitting 073 on that. Hard hit percentage is down to 28%. Career average is 35%. So he's just not really barreling balls the same way. The other one is Lance Lynn. Look, I think it's time. I think he's really close to getting DFA'd. Man, poor White Sox. 4-7 this year, 6.75 ERA. He's still actually owned in 63% of leagues, which is really surprising. But his last 3 starts, he's totaled negative 11 points in fantasy. To be fair, that was against the Dodgers, Yankees, and Angels. So do what you will with that information, but still rough. And Big Fangraphs note here ranks second to the bottom, second to last in WHIP amongst starters this year at a 1.56. Only one guy is worse. Jack Flaherty at a 1.59.
Yikes.
Yeah. So unfortunately, Lance is kind of that, like, I'm going to shove my fastball down your throat kind of mentality. I think those days are all done.
Guys are just teeing up. They're sitting on it.
So
yeah, poor White Sox.
Yeah. Burn it down.
Closing the book here. I just wanted to get your thoughts real quick because I didn't really read the backstory. Quite honestly, I wasn't very interested in the backstory because it was that appalling. What's up with the whole Oswaldo Cabrera grandmother's tooth necklace thing about? What is that, dude?
Yeah, well, here's what I would recommend. If you can go and find, I think it was yesterday's pregame interview between him and Meredith Morakovitz, who's like their sideline reporter for Yes, is actually a pretty sweet story. And it's a little bit of a culture thing. And his mom was saying that he did it for his mom. He was basically like, I'll do anything for my mom. She asked me to do this. She believes that it's something like spiritual that helps. His grandma had passed away and never got to see him play in the big leagues. So he feels like having his grandma with him at all times is something that helps inspire him. So I got to be honest with you, if you don't know much about Ozzy Cabrera, it's like, listen to a couple of interviews. You can't help but root for the guy. Super humble, very just a down-to-earth guy.
Like it.
Yeah. So definitely a little strange, but he came out and said, he's like, I don't care. He's like, I don't care what people are saying in the comments. Like,
so like he acknowledges that like it's kind of jarring, like to people who have no idea.
Yeah, he knows it's a little strange, but apparently it's just a part of their culture. And he said he'd do anything for his mom. His mom asked him to do it, and so here it is. And he didn't realize that it's like it would blow up as much as it has. But seriously though, watch that interview. You'll see it's like, all right, well, it's weird, but you do you, bro. I like it.
I mean, hey, whatever works, man. You do what mom says. Especially for him, he still has to listen to his mom. He's only like 12, right?
Yeah, dude is young, bro.
Yeah, you can't.
So yeah,
you can't be telling your mom no when you're 12. Yep. That's all I had. You got anything else before we roll into this weekend?
Oh, not really. Shout out Denver Nuggets bringing it home, first time in franchise history. And then shout out my boy Drew Stahl over at Oral Roberts, getting their first World Series appearance in like 45 years or something like that. They will take on TCU on Friday. So, yeah, if you're a college baseball fan, I'm excited. I think this is the first year I've been really into college baseball, and it's electric. I got to be honest. I get it now. I definitely get it. It doesn't take long to get bit by the bug. So if you're not really feeling some of these matchups this weekend and you're kind of getting the little dog days for MLB, I would say catch a couple on the College World Series this weekend. A lot of fun teams, a lot of weird, fun traditions. It's going to be good to watch. So,
and the great thing about college baseball fans is like, you're not going to get hit with like the bandwagon conversation. They're going to welcome you with open arms because they're like, this is like they literally call it the greatest show on dirt for the College World Series. So I think people have an understanding of like, okay, we have something that's worth tuning in for. If we run into people that maybe haven't watched any college baseball all year, we'll let it slide because of how great this event is. And I would love to go. I think we need to get out there one year.
We got to find a way to make it happen.
And make that happen because that would be awesome. But yeah, that'll be fun. So be sure to check that out. Anything else?
That's it for me. Let's go get it this weekend. Whatever you're doing, let's just go get it. Or don't get it. Just sit on the couch in your underwear, but kill it at that. You know the drill. Don't go chasing curveballs.
We love y'all, and as always, looking forward to talking more baseball with you guys soon. Until next time, stay filthy.